Hello everybody, what is going on? Welcome back. Force here with some more Overwatch news. We got a couple of stories to talk about today, including some upcoming changes for Orisa, Doomfist entering competitive play, and the upcoming PTR. Let's get things started though with talking about the upcoming Orisa changes. So a thread was posted earlier today calling for a massive overhaul to Orisa, specifically looking for big buffs for the hero. Now Jeff Kaplan did come out to say that they don't think she needs mega buffs, but they are experimenting with some minor improvements. He apologized for not having details, later going on to say that they're trying a few things right now and not all of them are going to stick, but overall we feel like she's not far off, but not quite in an ideal spot yet. So some changes are going to be happening, and I guess, you know, since he didn't really allude to anything other than to say, yeah, they're trying a few things, and since not all of them are going to stick, he doesn't want to come out and say anything. I'd like to, I guess, kind of go over what is possible. So I guess the first thing that some people might talk about is the idea of giving Orisa more damage, but this doesn't seem all too likely to me, because when she first came out, she was a bit of a damage dealing machine, and they felt like she was a bit overtuned in that fashion, so they decided to tone her back a little bit. So the idea of them upping her damage, it seems like that might be something that they're not super likely to do. I also don't really see them changing her fortify at all. I guess the only thing that would make sense, maybe they could adjust the cooldown and stuff like that, but it'd actually be really cool to see her get a little speed increase, although that is kind of contrary to her design, which is sort of this, as they talked about when they came out with her, as an anchor tank that's meant to just kind of root in place and have the team stand behind her in sort of a stronger position. So her getting a base speed increase or speed increase while fortify is up doesn't seem all too likely either. Now, what is, I think, likely? I think possibly a change to her alternate fire, maybe a cooldown reduction or an increase to the slow that she gets, kind of debilitating the enemies a little bit more. I also think further shield changes could certainly be possible. You know, something that I don't think is really brought up often, I haven't seen brought up often, is the idea of maybe making her shield a little bit larger than it is right now. They have already tuned the cooldown to make it so that it's up more often. Maybe it's just a more effective shield because it's a bigger shield. And then I did see an interesting suggestion of increasing her projectile speed, but this does also fall back in line with making her better at dealing damage, because you wouldn't have to lead shots as much, or shots would definitely be more effective against people at a further distance. So I suppose this is a possibility. Either way, it's going to be really interesting to see what they decide to do with Orisa. I'm happy to hear that they're making some changes. One thing to also keep in mind is that she's just really doesn't seem to be terribly well suited for what's the current meta, what's considered popular at this moment in time. So it could also be a situation of waiting until the meta shifts again, and then maybe Orisa comes back into a stronger position. But Blizzard is looking into making some changes. Jeff said so himself, so it looks like we should expect some sort of a buff on the horizon. Next up, I just wanted to let everybody know that Doomfist has officially entered competitive play. After a week of playtime in quick play and arcade, you can finally test your mettle in the actual competitive environment. Now, this happened earlier this afternoon, I think about 4 or 5 hours as of this recording. I'm going to be really intrigued to see how he fits into the popularity of the dive meta. Obviously, quick play is just kind of a smorgasbord of whatever. You see a lot of Hanzos and Widows and just kind of people picking and playing whatever they feel like. So it's not really the best place to test out how a character is going to do in a competitive environment. Now, fortunately, since right now dive is all the rage, I expect Doomfist to do very well. He is very much so suited for the popular team composition that we have at the moment. So now that Doomfist is in comp, I expect him to fall right in line with the dive meta. It's, I guess, just going to be a matter of who he is replacing. And also, get ready for the PTR. It should be coming up tomorrow, we're expecting. Earlier in the week, we did have that 4 gig download happen on the PTR as a background download and not a full patch download, and that was in preparation of patch 1.14, we learned, which it was said should be coming out in a couple of days. Well, it's been a couple of days. The week is ending because tomorrow is Friday, so I fully expect that the PTR, if it doesn't just happen at some point late tonight, will be going up on Friday. Worst case, probably early next week. And with this, of course, we're expecting those buffs to Roadhog with his moving plus healing and his reduced damage while that's happening, and of course the Junkrat buffs with the second charge of his mind, and getting either a faster Riptire or a Riptire with more health. One or the other should be happening. And I don't know, maybe some of those Orisa changes will hit the PTR as well. We'll have to see. Exciting stuff though, lots going on. Hope you guys enjoyed this recap video going over all of the recent Overwatch news. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.